How's it going, Bruins fans? Welcome back into another episode of the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast from the Fans First Sports Network. On Sports Illustrated, my name is Tom Cavanaugh. Follow me at TCAV30 on Twitter/X, and also follow our insider pages at UCLA Insider on SI, both on Twitter/X and over on Facebook. Today, Wednesday, May 28th, and we're talking hoops, but before we do, I want to make a quick personal announcement. For all you out there watching, this is going to be my last week with UCLA covering the Bruins across all athletics. Going to be transitioning more on the Michigan State side of things, but this will be my last week of podcasting. The last one you'll get from me is going to be released on Saturday. So just the rest of this week, able to kind of catch you guys up on some breaking news within UCLA football. We're looking at basketball, obviously, today and the rest of the week, and then maybe some baseball as well. They get going in their regional of the NCAA tournament this weekend. Not going to be covering that as much, but maybe one recap day as we look at the field and kind of predictions as to how the Bruins will finish up. But today we'll go basketball centric. Just wanted to put that out there. This will be my last week. Your last podcast from me. I appreciate you bearing with me for all these months. It's going to be on Saturday. So thank you all for listening and tuning in. I really appreciate it. This isn't my final goodbye, but we'll get into some UCLA hoops here today and then kind of wind down throughout the week. So today I kind of looked around at what this Bruins team is going to bring to the table, just kind of sifting through, trying to find some outliers on why this team could be different from last. And one thing that really jumped out at me was the veteran leadership that this team is going to have. And I think it's going to pay dividends not only in the Big Ten, but in the national tournament as well when you get to March. Just kind of looking back, before we dive into UCLA's team, you look back at the last several national championship winners, especially last year with Florida and some of these other teams. I mean, Florida's number one player was Walter Clayton Jr. He was the transfer from Iona, was it? Yes, he played for Patino in Iona. You go back to a couple years ago with UConn. They had a bunch of third or fourth year guys. You had Donovan Clingan, who had been there for 2 or 3 seasons. Same thing with Cam Spencer and a few others. So you look at these championship teams, and even the teams that didn't win it last year. You look at Auburn, you look at Houston. Some of these schools just had, incredible depth and veteran leadership on their teams from guys that are 23, 24, 25 years old. The Bruins have that this year. Not only do they have it in their returners in senior forward Tyler Bilodeau, junior guard Eric Daly Jr., and senior guard Sky Clark, which is kind of the core 3 right there, considering all 3 started last year throughout the season. And they're projected to start again this year. I would assume Mick Cronin would roll out at least those 3 guys and maybe a couple others in that starting lineup come early November. But you couple those guys that already have tournament experience, they're going to lead the charge when it comes to March because they have the experience. A lot of the transfers that UCLA got this offseason do not have any sort of experience at all in the March Madness tournament. You look at senior guard Jamar Scott. He played for Kansas City, hasn't sniffed an NCAA tournament. Neither has Steven Jamerson II, who is a senior coming out of San Diego. He played for the Toreros for 3 years, a ton of experience there. You look at Anthony Peoples Jr. Oh, by the way, Jamar, by the way, he played 2 years of JUCO ball at Phoenix College before moving on to 2 seasons at Kansas City. So he's got 4 years of experience. Jamerson with 3. Xavier Booker, he's got 2 years at Michigan State. Not a ton of time when you look at, all the other veterans on this team, guys that are 3 or 4 years into their stints here. So, those 2 guys really jump out on the page at you. And then as we talked about, obviously, the guys that are returning in Bilodeau, Daly, and Clark. All those guys, even though you only have some tournament experience, all guys that are 3, 4, 5-year players. And that's going to be a huge thing. We're noticing with all these teams, they're all 24, 25 years old. They're all juniors and seniors. It's very rare that you see a team kind of like what Michigan State did with only a couple of seniors and Jaden Akins and a couple guys and being freshman, sophomore led for a lot of that season. That's very rare and a big reason why they lost to Auburn in the Elite Eight. Same sort of thing here for the Bruins. If they have this veteran leadership that they're able to get from not only their returners, but their older transfer additions, I think this team competes atop the Big Ten. You look at them right there with Michigan State, Michigan, Purdue, Wisconsin. Maryland might be in that mix again this year, even though they're losing almost their entire team, plus Kevin Willard, their head coach, who departed. So I'm really excited to see what this UCLA team is going to bring when it comes to just their ability to get off the mat when an upset happens, because I think they'll be a top 25 team in the country this year for a majority of the season. Hopefully they don't lose out on that at any point, but this is going to be a group that is a lot more comfortable with the big game, the big spot than last year, because you had so many guys that were so green around the ears, a bunch of transfers that were sophomores, some freshmen as well, some guys that hadn't even played at their first school and were getting their first touches really with the Bruins. So this is a group that, you have a bunch of guys that averaged over double digits. Can't forget about Donovan Dent either. What am I thinking right here? Dent played 3 years in New Mexico. He's going to be the star of the show. So having all these guys that have so much depth and experience, it really, really helps out for this team to be a tournament contender into the Final Four, hopefully a deep run this year, and then competing for a Big Ten title, because that is really, that's where you start. That's the stepping stone. You start with the Big Ten, you start dominating the conference, and then you go on to the national tournament and take down those top teams. That's going to do it for us here on the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast from the Fan First Sports Network on Sports Illustrated. My name is Tom Cavanaugh. Follow me at TCAV30 on Twitter/X, and also follow our insider pages at UCLA Insider on SI, both on Twitter/X and over on Facebook. Thanks so much, everybody. Glad to be with you for this last final week. Go Bruins, and we'll talk to you soon.